It's like a Mumford and Sons thing.
Good evening, the internet. Too often do we find ourselves on one end of a journey. The anxiety of beginning quickly replaced with the melancholic sadness of an end. In entertainment and art, who can really be here now. Many are without realizing it, though. Joining me tonight, live and always in the moment, the wiffle ball commissioner, honorary professor of rock and roll, my old friend Jack Webster.
Wow, that was beautiful.
What's up, man?
That was beautiful.
little teleprompter. Y'all don't know teleprompter.
Look, the fact you got a teleprompter in here in the first place, all these other features. Do you not have the soundboard anymore?
The sound. Oh, everything. The sound. What do you mean? Like beep beep beep? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So we'll get to that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I don't.
Yeah. We'll get to the soundboard.
I genuinely don't know. So that was not a
Yeah. I've been trying to have Jack on for a minute. Real excited to get him in here and catch up.
Dude, it's great to be here. It's awesome to see all these extremely well produced interviews you're making. There's a ton of variety among the talent that you bring in. So I reckon I pushed my way in to your
That's
studio
true.
myself.
Well,
So,
if very few might know, but Jack and I did have a podcast a long time ago. We attempted. I think we did one episode. It's still
2 episodes never aired.
in the, yeah. I think they exist in private mode on my SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Not great, but still, it's kind of funny how I've never really tried to, even when you're doing something silly that you all know is silly, there's always that kind of moment when you can walk into a room and be like, they're up to something. They are producing something. I'm not sure what all this setup is about. I'm not sure if they're really gonna do it well, but damn it, these boys have pluck. Like this, and I think that's how we started. Maybe that was like 9 years ago.
I mean, I thought our setup in the Grand Ellen House in Athens in college was like remarkable. I thought it was so professional. We did have matching mics back then.
We did have matching mics. I had a vocal booth in my closet that was just devastatingly hot. You remember we lined the whole thing with like mattresses.
I still like
people
tell
in there.
people that is the way to do home vocals.
Oh,
like,
it was crazy.
Get a closet you don't. Well, you might need, but that you need more for this, and then mattress pad.
Yes.
As many egg crates or just like pieces of foam you can find, line it the fuck out, and you're gonna get the deadest vocals you've ever heard. And
so dead.
It's as good as any other thing.
Yeah, I can't knock that. I think a lot of times you're doing bigger things now. We're both doing more professional things, but something about that like kind of amateur spark is definitely what keeps me going, gets me excited about, opportunities and gigs and shows and, sitting down and streaming and talking to people. There's still something there that's like, it's not, I'm not quite on the level yet where it has to be so serious that I have to be, crazy professional. There's still,
it keeps you from like getting jaded early on a little bit, just knowing that anything's possible from the like confines of like the house you're renting.
Yeah.
So I mean, I look back on the whole like the 3 or 4 albums or whatever that were made in that house very fondly.
I just that's a great plug because I just put some of my back catalog on Spotify, which there's some licensing I'm struggling with a little bit.
Clever Girl?
Almost.
Clever Girl hasn't been on there.
No, well we'll have to talk about that off air.
Okay,
There's some things I have to process in regards to the features on that album that have to be cleared by said people who perform those features.
Me.
No, actually not.
Me.
Imagine if there was, for example, a person on maybe 1 or 2 of those recordings that had then gone on to be extremely successful, maybe someone else in your family member.
Oh, okay.
And
okay,
so
okay.
then, you'd have to reach out to said person and they'd have to actually verify. It's kind of I was talking to Will about it earlier about how he had to do it for his song with Father, which was awesome, but how much of a kind of cringeworthy process it was to ask this man
Taft?
to.
That song?
Yeah, was that the Waika song with Father?
Yeah.
Yeah, he to have to ask this man to send some sort of government issue picture of a government issued ID to a
Oh.
Twitter page with an email attached. It was just like I was like, man, is this really?
Yeah.
Is this seriously?
Well, I mean,
so it's like
I don't
I get
know.
it because you don't want someone just tagging an established artist with this stuff, but. When I was doing it, I was like, "Oh yeah, man, that was a great song. That was a great, And it's like, "Oh, nope, we don't believe you." I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's fair."
Well, I never knew that Wreck the South was removed from Spotify. I
Wreck
thought
the
it was
South
still on
never. Yeah, okay. So the story with Wreck the South is I uploaded it to I uploaded it to Spotify without a space in between the D and the A of Mad Ace. So it uploaded as Madache, right? So there's an artist that exists as Madache on Spotify that is just his only release is Wreck the South, which is it's Mad Ace.
it's you.
It's Mad
you.
Ace is
Okay,
one word,
Okay.
right? And so I have tried to get it taken down multiple times, but I had to recreate and start over my Spotify page, and I just added 3 dots to Mad Ace, so it's like Mad Ace.
Mm-hmm.
Mad Ace, whatever. But so now I'm kind of uploading again all my back catalog stuff, and now having to deal with what I wouldn't have had to deal with, 7 or 8 years ago, uploading that and just. But
Well, I'll put a good word
yeah,
in for you.
it's all good, man. I have to go through. I have 10 emails regarding to this. I have to respond to from DistroKid. It's not the most straightforward thing. I'm not even ready to deal with that yet. So I was like, yeah, we'll talk about this. Yeah,
Okay.
it's all
okay.
good. It's just like it's
That's
just
a
kind
you
of
and me
annoying.
thing. That's
I
a
did
you
it.
and me thing.
It's like
And
oh
the
man,
live
that
viewers.
record you recorded with that person who wasn't super famous and then is we don't actually believe that you did that. So since you're not famous, we're gonna need you to prove that you know. It's like okay.
Yeah, we need a picture of it. Y'all hugging
Yeah, it's like in today's newspaper.
in one of your residences.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what kind of established artist is gonna be super cool, just giving? And they were even in the email. They're like, it's cool. You can redact enough personal information so that we can just I was like, this is.
Well,
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
in Wayuka, Will handles all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's why I called him immediately. I was like, anyway, what is going on with this identification from DistroKid? He's like, man,
Yeah.
don't
I mean, we
even.
also had a song with my sister, but I don't think it ever it came out so. I mean, it had to be 5 plus.
So I actually checked on that. It
5
was
years ago or
5
so?
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
Came
I
out,
listened to it a couple days ago.
and it never got removed or had to get reposted. So I guess we got
Nice.
lucky in
Nice.
that regard.
Nice.
I like to think it worked out either way.
It's there's Spotify is quickly not becoming my biggest fan, or
Yeah,
I'm not
you're
becoming
not
its
alone
biggest
in that.
fan. It's there's still something about going back to I just kind of put together this little tape cassette deck recording kind of joint where I can record my demos and whatever stuff on a tape real easily as a if just as the computer's going literally right now I could just start recording our podcast and now it's just
And
recording.
now we just have a novelty.
we just have a
cassette.
novelty cassette of our
that I can
podcast
slam in
starting
my
right now on your
09
in
4Runner.
your 09 4Runner.
Sick.
But it's weird because I'm realizing when I'm recording I'll be oh yeah it's such a different way to listen to something long form that you can't really control every single stop and start of an individual track, on a record or something, or even on a CD. It's more of this the whole work kind of exists as this this thing right here, and it's each individual track is on there, but there's something to be said for kind of having to deal with this whole thing in itself as opposed to just skipping around a whole bunch. Like,
and also, the product, as I've been made aware, which I know is old news to a lot of people in the industry, but my partner Annie made me, she masters her own music,
right?
And Spotify has some sort of thing that they run it through that produces their own compressed version, which is what you actually get.
Yes.
At the end of the day, when you're a paying subscriber.
What's weird is that now mastering is like, for all intents and purposes, you're mastering from what I understand, you're mastering for the algorithm that the streaming service is set up. Like, we're no longer mastering just for like a good waveform that has like, equal balances and everything.
Right.
You're mastering,
like a mastering engineer is producing multiple finals,
for specific platforms, because
on.
they know. I mean, I guess that makes sense, because you had like radio cuts back in the day where they would just like chop the low end or whatever the fuck. But it doesn't. It's still weird, because I don't know. The quality, like the streaming quality, like the bit rate of music has gone so downhill that it's really, I don't know. I really try to find like, band camps of people where I can listen to like those, like, their high quality releases that at least, get on
Uncle Dad.
Yeah.
Sushi Buffet in Dog City.
Damn. That's a deep cut. That's one we could definitely pull up with Doc.
That shit's pure. That's never been touched by a streaming service other than Bandcamp.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the. I used to belong to a private torrent website where you had to. The whole like idea of the website was like you had to present your application to join the website with music that had never been found before.
I remember when we lived together in Athens, you would find rare records.
And
be like, oh, I got to use this as like trinkets,
as
torrent trinkets or whatever, and you'd have to upload records and be like, hey, you guys ever seen that one? That you haven't.
And then they'd be like, ooh, I've never seen that.
Like raises your like Reddit rating.
It literally does. It's exactly how it works. The more you upload, the more you can download. So I would just go around to, my friends' bedrooms and take CDs of people's
Let me burn
bands,
this.
like,
let me burn this. Rip it. Let me rip this
like,
real
right
quick.
now. Let me rip this.
I mean, is torrenting? Is that still around?
I was just about to say, dude, that website got shut down, and that was one of the bigger blows, because like that website was full of like really rare, and what was so cool about the website was called what.cd, and you'd be able to find like. You would be like, okay, I want this record, but I want to see what it sounded like on the vinyl issue, and there's like a CD quality, and there's a cassette release, and you could like download digital versions of all these different like kinds, and you could be like, okay, I want the lossless or the FLAC or the whatever, the MP3 or the whatever, and it would give you like all these different kinds and like different re-releases of like albums and stuff. It was like a music kind of nerd, like audiophile, just like big kind of thing, but also super illegal, obviously, because no one was paying for anything, which is like,
I mean, everybody like they were, I don't know, going after internet service providers, and we would, everybody in college, at least at the time we were there,
getting strikes.
You get an email from your internet provider. It's like, you got the 2013 Goody Mob album for free.
They would like put you on blast with like what exactly you downloaded.
$80 per song, and we'll make this go away. Man. And then we were just like,
how it was always
call the bluff.
It was always some like really embarrassing version of what you were wanting to download to. Like, it would be like camera shot of Pirates of the Caribbean 2003. like
Alien Quadrilogy.
Yeah, really, Jack, you wanted the Alien Quadrilogy?
Yeah, I got that, and I watched it all on a plane.
Whatever. My sister is hilarious for still to this day. We'll get she'll be home at whatever for family, Christmas or something, and boom, we'll get a copyright strike for Grey's Anatomy or whatever. It'll be like, Eloisa, I know you did that. And she's like, what? I have no idea. Like, wow, yeah. Go figure. My attorney sister is gonna deflect when it comes to not sussing up to
That's fine.
downloading the illegal, but it's like
I mean,
it's weird because they never do anything
with entertainment like that, with TV shows and movies nowadays. It's just like I wouldn't even consider to bother. It's partially because I'm not like 100% broke like we used to be, but like also just that you can go buy a movie on YouTube for like $2.99.
It's like $2. Yeah, and I don't need to have it. I don't need to have it forever. I just need to watch it that one time. I just need to watch it that one time.
And but like I think it's what it's really coming down to, which is maybe needs to be the last thing we say on this, but like it's the sports stuff. It's like the sports subscriptions are like certain. I'm a baseball guy, so it's like $75 a month, and you don't even get every game because like they're fighting over who gets what game between Bally, whatever the fuck the Braves play on, Fox, Apple Plus has their grubby fingers in it now, so now you need Apple Plus if it's a Friday.
This is for baseball. This is just for baseball,
and so it's just like baseball illegal streaming is big right now, and I think that's going to be the next thing they hit somebody's
when you're
internet provider.
When you're on the tour bus or when you're out with these guys on tour, is Jack Webster the dude with the streaming
wow,
links?
Funny you bring that up. So I
like, hey, Jack, soap today is down, man. I need
the main thing.
Soap.2day RS, man. Okay, dude, you need to go on 123.tv.
Yeah, the main thing I guess that makes me a relevant guest on this podcast right now that I want to talk about is the like tour managing stuff I've been doing for the last almost 2 years, and the most recent tour, besides sort of some of these one-off things that I do with my sister. Who I have decided upon coming into this that I'm just going to refer to her as my sister.
That's perfectly fine.
Because I know this isn't like a huge,
but they
hugely consumed podcast, but I would like it to be. I think it's deserving of that because this production is great. Shouts out to Kinley Davis. I don't know you're here. Yeah,
that's my producer.
You literally do have a producer. Yeah, the lovely Kinley Davis.
She's awesome. We got these great. Y'all can't see it. I know Jack, and Jack doesn't know. My screensaver.
No, I didn't know I was going to have this.
These custom amazing signs that you see every single episode are made by my beloved girlfriend, Kinley Davis.
It's fucking beautiful.
Throw that on in post, Andrew. Tag her.
Y'all just
got him.
Since I got here 15 minutes ago, just like have been talking shop about this needs to, cue this, cue that, like this after the intro, very, very tightly run for a small crew. So.
Well, what can you tell me about keeping things tight, man? Like, cause with the managing, when you're in the rock, when you're dealing with like rock and roll, but it also has to be, a data, like checklists and emails and stuff. Like, how do you stay on top of it? Like, how do you keep it fun? How do you keep it? That's kind of what, like, in my little intro thing, I was thinking about that because I was like, how many times do we just find ourselves on one end of something being like, okay, I'm getting ready to do this, and I just finished that. Both of them are really cool. And then when I get into it, it's kind of just like here we go. I'm at this and I'm at that, and I got to be here at this time. And it's like,
there's a couple helpful tools that go into that, and I certainly was not the most organized person when I started doing this, and it's effectively forced me to keep tabs on almost every line of communication that you have with somebody.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Related to a venue, related to the band's management, related to the money trail that you're trying to keep as clean as possible over these like weeks that you're out on the road that just become a blur as soon as it's over, and if you don't have just like hella subfolders in your email directory, like if you're not just like before you even open them, if you're not just pulling them in there to make sure that they make it there, eventually. Like you'll think of something that you need to reference, you'll never find it.
Is that something you had to teach yourself by fucking it up? By
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
My first tour, which I think I can make the shirt.
Yeah, run that.
The shirt reveal, because when
Nice.
I got here, you're like, who the fuck's Kate? That's not.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on it. Yeah, there it is. Yep. It's
This
in there.
is
It's in there. It's in there.
this is the first ever merchandise T-shirt by the artist Kate Bollinger
Nice.
from Richmond, Charlottesville, Virginia, but based out of Richmond when I was working with her. And that was the first tour managing opportunity that I got, and that was started in January 21.
Nice.
21.
Yeah.
21.
Cool.
22.
22.
22. Yeah.
The years
January 22.
don't really happen sometimes.
But yeah, big shouts out to Kate.
Very cool.
Awesome artist. They live in Los Angeles now.
Mm-hmm.
Just had songs come out with Paul Cherry, who's a buddy of mine. Drug dealer who I had the interesting pleasure of meeting also.
Interesting name. Interesting choice.
Yeah, and so it was between this and like a wiffle ball shirt that I was gonna wear, I was like, I've already done the fucking wiffle ball podcast thing. Like, I don't need to talk about that very much.
The wiffle ball.
I will say, Athens
shout out to the Wiffle Ball League.
expanding to Atlanta
Wow.
this year already has. So
What is that? It would be intra county,
no, I think it's just
intra
like
city.
we're just
City.
taking over the whole state,
Wow.
at least all the states that are relevant. Maybe cities in the state.
Is there a wiffle ball league that you're like on the cusp of like approaching and being like, we here?
No.
You know, is that,
No, there's not.
Okay.
No, there's not.
Okay. All right. We're not
Just
gonna
leave it at that.
We're not in like inspirational movie territory for going
Yeah.
up against. Okay.
I guess I don't know, the very first tour managing experience that I really got was just like going on tour with our band.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
band starting off, unless you got like, that's obviously different now because you have like TikTok and shit. And so like you can get famous without ever leaving your house.
Yeah, but not 7 years ago. Isn't that weird how fast?
I think
shit
it was
happens?
possible back
It was
then.
possible, but it was but that's the thing about like kind of us, man. We want to. Oh, by the way, God, I'm really sorry. If anybody's joining us on Instagram and you got clickbaited into clicking this video, please join us on YouTube immediately. I appreciate it. I know the audio is pretty good on Instagram, but you'll be able to chat on YouTube. Join it, subscribe, like all of this. But yeah, it's kind of funny because when you're like, especially when you're doing rock and you kind of started playing rock like we did, it's like in the like the school of rock literally age of like musicians kind of learning how to play rock and roll. We all had this idea of like almost recreating like, you know, the Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, like kind of, or like experience.
Yeah. In
like,
high school, that is like what you think you're going to
what
do.
you think, and that, but that I think that's what's really changed about like the younger generation is they're not really seeing that as a that's
phase.
That's not a phase. They don't have the 1970s, you know, kind of.
I don't know.
Freak.
Some of them do.
I guess some of them do, but it's not so. It wasn't. The internet wasn't as obviously a choice for, you know, this is what we should be doing. This is what we should be, you know, focusing our time and energy on.
And as time, energy, and like money as well. Circling back to like the tour managing yourself thing as a younger band or a band with less assets. It's just like there's so much you will learn and understand so that in the future when you do have a budget for somebody, whatever level, like you will know whether or not they're doing a good job.
That's very interesting.
If you just jump right out there with somebody and they are able to convince you they know what they're doing and they're not, then like you're not going to know to call them on that.
That's interesting.
So that's a big thing.
You kind of have to, but you don't even know to even call smell that something's up without having done the really bullshit the trash lady tour. You can't, unless
the Kings of Rock
Kings
tour.
of-
Let's
the
call
Kings
it what
of
it
Rock
was.
tour. The Kings of Rock
our
tour,
first tour,
2016.
Wayuka Big Morgan,
Yeah,
the Kings
that
of Rock
was
tour,
eight boys stuffed in a van for about 3 weeks, going
Yeah.
up and down the East Coast.
I mean, I'm
Surprised.
It's remarkable that was all done independently. Looking
I don't know.
back, but
Yeah.
and I
Shout
think the
out
Kings
to,
of Rock was kind of like the name of the tour was a very funny,
That's right.
ironic nod to like what we grew up on and what we were
Yeah,
just
that's-
talking
that-
about. We're like, we're gonna be like
Yeah.
fucking
Right. I mean, it's always been
Jimmy
that's
Page.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because it's always been slightly ironic for, at least for me, and I know probably for you, at least at some point, playing at least like in rock bands and stuff. But at some point, it becomes you realize how long you've been doing it, and it's way less ironic, and it's more like I know a lot more about this industry, without ever being, super successful. And it kind of feels good to just be, continuing to go through the motions and like,
Yeah, certainly.
without, and still making contacts and like doing all this stuff.
I mean,
and then
I've been very lucky to like carve out a niche for myself where I can like make a living doing a majority of like music industry stuff. But not to say like I haven't had some weird jobs that
Yes.
like carried me through
Yeah.
to the point where it's actually starting to
But for anybody who has had that weird job and is, stuck in something that's sucking up all their time, it's not the worst thing in the world to not be doing what you want to be doing, but to never lose sight of that. It's kind of like that. I remember I texted you a long time ago, and I was like, there's something about like that second before, you walk on stage when there's like absolutely nothing. There's just so many things that are happening to go up to that like moment, and it's like so special. And I really wouldn't trade that moment for anything. And I wouldn't care if it took me, 8 years in between finding that moment. It's all good because I know what that is, and I know I can't, I really couldn't say that feeling is different from any of the biggest rock stars to like, somebody performing at a talent show for the first time.
No, it's literally
and you can find that behind the scenes as a manager, as a production, as an operator, rig. It doesn't matter, like
right. And no, you've expressed that that thought to me before, and it's rung very true. It's just like you get to share, in a public setting with people, at least interested to see what you're doing, like what you love to do. And
there's something about exhibiting or like because it's entertainment, which is the really funny thing about it. It's like not to be at the end of the day, it's like it's not serious. It is not serious inherently. It's we're not doctors or lawyers or whatever, but there's something to be said for like presenting this art or this music at the highest possible quality, at the best possible way you can, and in that kind of special moment, whether it's all the sound guys doing everything, and all the everything from the stage to the musicians to the people who tune the guitar, like all that stuff just contributes to that like fantastic moment of like just wowing an audience. And like something it's that thing that like an audience member will never really understand, but like they'll absolutely hate it when they don't have it. But when it's there, it's you can't you can't take your eyes off it. Like it's
I don't know if audiences always like totally see or need to totally see everything that goes into like the performance of a band that they have chosen to pay and go see. But a lot of bands, I've been very lucky that a lot of the bands that I work with like make it a point to acknowledge everyone that's not on stage, that goes into it almost, if not always, on a nightly basis. Like everybody
Almost where it's like,
if that's your, because like when you're on the road, that really does become your, like that becomes your reality and your existence.
Yeah.
It's like you are with these people, and then you're surrounded by different people outside of that every night. But like like I said, your reality is like this person, this person, this person, this person. We all play in the band. This person does that. This person does this, and we wouldn't be able to play the music if this stuff wasn't being taken care of by other people.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about like taking care of those those things. Like what are you dealing with actually? Like in a show, on a show night, on a show day.
Oh,
what are
sure.
what are you
Well, I
what are
mean-
you picking, or like what kind of
Well,
I know
I-
you talked a little bit about sourcing specialized keyboards.
Yeah,
That
and that's why I want to.
that gotta be the tip of the
I want
iceberg.
to take it back a
Yeah,
little
that
bit
gotta be the
because it is like to the normal viewer, it's like, oh, your job is to like hold it down, get them to the show, do that. There's a lot of stuff that goes in months in advance to each individual show, if not just to be considered the tour as a whole. So, and like, I think it only makes sense to chronologically go through that,
Okay.
which is just essentially what's called a day sheet. So it's like every question, which varies depending on the size of the tour, the size of the band, the size of the production. And you essentially want to get in touch with every venue. You have your own conversation. Sometimes venues are really good about it. They're like, we knew you were going to ask every single one of those questions. And here's a PDF that just has all the answers. And those are great. That's kind of your job as a venue at a certain level, to just have that ready, to have the tech pack and just like be able to provide that. Some venues provide it before you even reach out to them. But that then has to be put into a format that everyone who you're touring with, whether it's a crew of, less than 10 people or a crew of like, let's say Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yikes.
It's just like, that came to mind because I was tour managing. I didn't have to. I chose to work with a band who opened for Hootie and the Blowfish on my second day with them. And I saw the size of the crew that Darius brings.
Wild.
And it's 3 tour buses and 4 semis of like just all this shit.
I mean,
all the shit. And I'm sure some people got there on their own.
Yeah.
There we go. It's the Springs creating
Oh, it
the
is
subs.
the Springs. Interesting.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Yeah, you can just high pass that
I'm sure I can.
later.
Do it right now.
And then getting that into a format that everyone who you're with can just open their phone, click an app, and quickly find the information that is pertinent to them, which, they're like, Wi-Fi is a big one. Parking maps, green room accommodations, hospitality, catering.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Times.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then schedule
among
among everything is probably the most important. And then once that hits, then there's like the lodging, the transportation, and then to get down to specifics, like the sourcing of backline and the.
But you got to. I mean,
instruments.
how far in advance would you have to do that? Pretty.
I would say on like a bus tour scale, you probably want to be in touch. I mean, I would feel best being in touch like 2 months in advance. But I'm not doing my first bus tour until this October.
Oh, cool.
But I would imagine.
Who is that with?
That's with my sister.
Very cool.
Yeah.
She getting a bus?
Getting a bus.
Fantastic.
And it's actually
That's sick.
it's confirmed.
Very
and
cool.
and it's being not paid for with any sort of funny money. It's and
we want that.
bypass that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. The yeah. Where was I going with this?
I don't know. I kind of rambled there for a minute.
No, I guess I was gonna wonder about like when you. Nope, totally lost it. Moving on. So.
Cool.
A couple things. I wanted to. We're about 45 minutes in here. Kinley, if you would be so kind as to provide what we need from the kitchen. Sure.
Oh.
That'd be nice. Because I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Oh, I appreciate that. There's a blind spot.
Were you trying to be like, there's a...
Actually, there's a blind spot in the middle of the screen right here because there's a fake that y'all. I guess I'm breaking that right now, but there's a fake overlay of this screen on top of this in post.
Anyone who's worked, in
well, you say that, man. It's pretty convincing. It's pretty convincing. It's pretty convincing.
Yeah,
it's pretty convincing.
No, it is. It is. It's very convincing.
It's pretty convincing.
I'm not saying it's not.
It's pretty convincing. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you're gonna
know that shit doesn't work on camera.
But let's see. So I wanted to
this thing, just the waves.
I wanted to cook up a little special something. Let's see if I can move this out of the way. Let's see what we got.
Is this gonna be
what we got here? Like no. We're good.
Plate?
We're good.
Okay.
This is slightly permanent. We're actually just gonna go ahead and get this out here and present a couple different flavors of hot sauce.
Oh,
and we're gonna do.
Why didn't you tell? Well, I guess this is supposed to be a surprise.
That's the whole point, man.
But I make my own hot sauce.
Oh, man, this would be a great opportunity because unfortunately, this is only
hot sauce. Thank you.
This is Publix's last minute selection of hot sauce.
Oh, I love it.
And we're really gonna.
Oh my God!
Thank you so much, Kinley.
You are a saint, dude.
We got wings. Yeah.
Good too.
It's great. Well,
dude,
they're not.
They're not hot.
I know this is
all good.
I know this is a play on thing, but
right. So
I will say that when I get back from tour, I live in Gresham Park, very close to Candler Road, and there are just like 3 or 4 kick-ass wing spots right by my house. And so the first thing I do when I get back from tour is go get like my go-to, which I know is like some people have said it's a little freaky. Is
what is it?
Spicy teriyaki lemon pepper.
That is so a little
good.
freaky.
It's so good. Better known as the Sanchez at what is it? JR Crickets. They have a name for it there. So.
Wow.
Anyway,
I mean, I know you are. I know you're pretty big on hot sauce, man. There's really nothing to this except that we are doing a little bit of an homage to one of my favorite shows called Hot Wings. The unfortunate part.
Hot Ones.
I'm sorry. Hot Ones. The show with hot questions and even hotter wings is, I think, his motto. But the only unfortunate part is this is the pretty much the best I could come across on.
This is the fucking last minute.
Yeah, this is the best I could come across on.
Are these ranked?
So we're ranked in basically like from whatever. That's gonna be they're in place just so I could move the thing around dramatically. I kind of place them on.
Normal,
I mean, they're not like
this isn't normal Tabasco. This is
that's some pretty spicy Tabasco. So and of course with this, obviously, we do have some questions.
Oh, nice. Prompts. Thank God.
Yeah, so let's see. So we're obviously going to start out with the regular Cholula. Is there...
Dude, we ate so much of this shit.
Is there... You know what? Grab you I'm sure I got something. Kinley, you wouldn't happen to have two paper plates, would you?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah, before we get into this.
Well, you would know
We've
if
eaten-
y'all have paper plates. Y'all both live here.
I know. It was kind of a
We can do
manipulative way to
regular
ask her
plates?
to get paper plates.
So you
Sorry.
know you have paper plates.
Ugh. Yeah, there's if for anyone that's not familiar, the concept of a dab is very important, and then we're not talking
Okay,
about
everyone's seen
smoking.
This shit. We can
weed.
do our own thing. We fucking
Well, I'm really just talking about what we used to do before the show even happened, where we would
do a
circulate
burn.
the burn.
Oh, we got to talk about the burn.
Yeah,
All right,
the
here,
burn
I'll
is
take, I'll
the
take
burn.
A
Okay.
So yeah, we used to go play at. This was Juan DeFuca, I believe, that was really the one to make several appearances at South by Southwest, and like I don't know, it was like 2016, something like that. 2015.
No, it would have no. We're way
17,
up.
18?
17,
Okay.
18, yeah.
We had a good friend in the band, Tamaron, Jake Moon. Shouts out Jake Moon. Lives in Austin, Texas. I don't know. If he's
Shout
still
out Wiley Green too. That was his roommate and old friend.
Oh,
my
yes,
old friend from
yes.
music
And
school.
They would let like 8 of us crash at their like 2-bedroom apartment, and
break
he had
their glassware.
like there's very specialized.
There's very
glassware.
specialized glassware.
But yeah, Jake had one of the most magnificent hot sauce collections of all time, and it was not presented this well, but
Yep.
we would just stand in a circle in the kitchen and
Just
in
see
his
who
rankings do pass them in
That's right.
a circle. Everyone do
Yeah.
a little, and by the end, everyone's just like jumping up
Yo,
and down,
yeah. It's like
mouths
really
on fire
intense.
because it was something like a dozen we were going through every time. Anyway,
Cholula's
shout out
pretty
Jake Moon.
standard, man. I'll let you do your own, but I'm not messing around. I generally think they don't use enough hot sauce on hot ones. I'm realizing my selection of microphone is going to make this a little bit more difficult than I anticipated.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not worried about it. Jack, I can understand from talking about touring that a lot has changed since we went out in a van called the Trash Lady with no air conditioning or speakers.
I forgot about
But I'm always interested in the unexpected. How much better do you feel when you get to use a walkie-talkie?
as opposed to not using a
As opposed to
walkie-talkie.
not using a walkie-talkie.
I think I've only used a walkie-talkie once, and that wasn't even on tour. That was when I was stage managing my sister's orchestra show at the.
Okay, we did.
Right.
We did. Actually, a lot of people have walkie-talkies.
I went into film during COVID when I lost my venue job, and I really enjoy walkie-talkie culture though, and I think with this bus tour, I'm going to make a big push for us
for some walkie-talkies.
for us to have walkies. Yeah, I will say the difference in film industry and music industry, because when you play a festival, all the like festival employees have walkie-talkies.
Right.
The difference in walkie-talkies is film, everyone uses surveillance, the in-ear, and music people love the biscuit, you know?
They do like the biscuit. What is with that? Yeah,
You know? And I'm like, I don't mind the way you talk
yeah.
into it, but like
Yeah.
once the show starts, you're never going to hear that speaker. Like you're never
I
going to
think
hear
that
it.
might kind of be the point.
Yeah, I'm pro surveillance. I will say that's a good thing I've taken.
I'm gonna agree with you on that, man. There's nothing better than having tabs on everybody at all times. I mean, it's just such a sense of security.
Yeah.
I can't tell. Even from the losing a band member is the weirdest shit ever. You know, because
I've lost. Lost as in physically woken up touring with this band. Maybe not a good story to use the band's name, but this was in April.
Okay.
And we woke up in Macon. No, not Macon. Mobile, Alabama, after headlining a festival. And our keyboardist was missing. So that was a lot. And it's probably like one of the days that I've learned the most in a day that you can learn about the job. So I am thankful for it, mostly because everybody was okay. We still made it to the Chattanooga show. We were 4 hours late, and we just did a throw and go, no sound check. But that was a wild one.
Now, how did the keyboard player last after that? Is
Well,
he still
he played an
didn't he?
insane show.
Oh, really?
He played very well. He's not a big drinker or anything. It was like a
took that
different situation that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
That's very unfortunate. So it was great to see that the band had a very good time that night.
Our next hot sauce is Hooters.
I know.
Hooters wing sauce. Yeah. I'm gonna dip in this guy.
I am too. I don't mind if I go like all flats because
That's fine.
I
Take your
love
choice,
flats.
man. It's all good. Before you were here, and also before we played music, and before I met you, you played a lot of tennis.
Right.
Do you ever regret your choices not pursuing professional tennis?
So I actually came straight here from playing tennis with my sister, who had just gotten off of a lesson with one of my bandmates in another band.
Okay.
Shouts out Tommy Marks. It's really just Tommy Marks. It's not a band. We are his band when it comes to playing live.
Yes.
And Tommy and I play tennis still casually with a bunch of my music friends. And Tommy has always refused to play with us.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Tommy has always refused to play with us because he teaches tennis. He's
really?
far
Oh my God, dude! I thought you were referring to a music lesson, and I was like, "Wow, that's awesome!"
No, a tennis
That's so
lesson.
cool. You were talking about a tennis lesson.
Yeah,
That's
no.
hilarious.
My sister's been getting really into tennis, as have we all kind of had this resurgence of realizing it's fun to play with your friends.
Okay.
But watching Tommy today when I got to the courts, I was like,
Wow.
it's so good that I quit tennis. I did not have the determination or the the work hustle mindset to like focus on a not team sport. Like that was always the hardest thing as a kid playing tennis growing up, is it's like they don't tell you how like mentally hard that shit's gonna be.
This one was kind of spicy, man.
Well, I think we just put a absolute shit ton on on these.
I guess
Well, I'm
that's
not
fair.
even done. So
All right. Yeah. Well, get into it.
did you have a sport growing up?
Yeah. It was like very lightly between
Don't say soccer because we all played soccer.
no,
growing
man.
up.
It was cycling. It was cycling.
Oh,
And I would do that like one.
I knew that. I knew that.
Yeah, with the clip-ins and the tightness and the, we don't really talk about that.
Well, I mean, there's no.
But
dude,
I've been really thinking about getting back into it, to be completely honest.
It makes so much sense that fits with your like interests.
Gear,
because
head.
You're just good with all of this. Well, you can't see it, but there's a lot of moving small pieces in the studio right now.
That is actually funny. I've never really thought about
goes
that.
into the same
I
thing.
do.
It's like bicycles and cars, which you are also
This
big
is
on.
very true.
I might
Okay.
have to do this drum because it looks so great.
It's like pretty wild. It's crusty.
That's a crisp.
That's
drum.
super crusty.
This is great so far. I didn't know I was getting dinner.
Hey, I do actually need to. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Thank you, chat. I'm sorry I haven't really been reading it, but I appreciate everyone up in here right now.
Anybody we know?
Yes, Kinley's been moderating it.
Oh, thank you.
Actually,
Kinley.
really nicely, and
Another
I appreciate
another
that.
legendary move.
Yes. Another legendary moment from the greatest producer ever. Let's see if I can get this. Yeah. Yes, we did not know Jack made his own hot sauce. That's a big L. Although I do now know I have a picture in my brain of your face on the side of a hot sauce bottle,
Yeah.
which should have given me
It's
at
sick.
least
I'm like shooting lasers out of my
at least
eyes.
some indication that
There's like
you
Calvin
had your
from
own hot
Calvin and
sauce.
Hobbes in a spaceship, like flying around. It's called Webby Jr.'s Flame Ass Bitch and Hot Sauce, and it
How many Scoville
has
units?
plan-
How many Scoville units is your hot sauce? This is from my boy Ben.
Okay, Ben, I
Shelton.
would say it's probably gonna fall between this next one we do and the one after that.
You don't have a unit on that?
No, I don't have a unit on it. It is.
We're gonna have to get that tested.
I'm a
man.
big flavor guy, so it is like
Describe
emphasis on flavor. So it's
Is this
not.
supposed to have a
Yeah, try it.
safety?
Oh no.
All right. This one looks spicy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The
This
name
one
of the
looks
hot
pretty
sauce
spicy.
is a Webby Jr.'s Flame Ass Bitch and Hot Sauce.
Y'all gonna buy Webby Jr.'s Flame Ass
And I
Bitchin'
give
hot sauce?
it to my family and my grandparents for Christmas, like every year.
You really?
Yeah.
You give that to your grandparents?
I just gave it to my sister for her birthday last month, cause she ran out of it.
This is like when you
Because it's
gave-
that good.
This is like when you gave. This is like when you gave your that for her birthday at one point. Someone that you were dating at the time a copy of my record for her birthday that we had just finished recording that you were featured on.
Was
Do you
this-
remember that?
Well, I'm trying to remember what record it was.
Wreck the
'cause I was
South.
on
It was Wreck
two.
the South. It was
Okay.
on Wreck the South.
I was on the second one was the EP. You're right.
Yeah. But I remember you giving that as a present.
hey,
I was really flattered, but I don't think
they liked it.
I don't think they really got it.
Hey, check out track 7.
Track 7 is killer. Okay, so Nashville. Now, you know a little bit about Nashville. But
Wow.
Nashville hot. And so what's interesting about this one, y'all, is the tattoo hot sauce Nashville. What I want to know about
I think
Jack.
this one's gonna be kind
What
of
I want to
hot.
know about Jack, as I put this all over his hot wing, is whether or not he's found it more difficult to make connections in the music industry without any tattoos.
Wow. Okay. I thought this was going to be about Nashville.
None of these questions
I was
are going to
about
be
to
that
go off.
serious, man. Yeah. Oh, I could say a thing or two about Nashville, but we're going to say, yeah, we'll talk. We could do that later.
No, let's talk
but
about tattoos, man. That's fine.
yeah, is it? I mean, do you find yourself having to prove yourself more because you don't have any visible or at all in
No.
there? Because you could just be like, no, man, I got my back done. No one's going to ask to see your back, but. I know you ain't got no ink, and it's what are we doing?
I'm gonna need some more of this. This is low key less hot than the Hooters sauce.
this is
Tells you something about Nashville though.
it's oily. It's very oily.
Very oily. So, tattoos. No, I've never had any. I've never felt the temptation of like the tattoo thing, the culture that so many musicians fall to, you know.
Oh yeah.
But really, that all started with my my grandfather, my dad's dad, who passed away last November,
Okay.
and it was always kind of just like, as a kid, these threats of getting cut out of the will.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and,
I've always heard rumors of these
and
situations.
it's not like we knew what a will really was like that young. It was just
What-
like,
did
don't
you-
get tats. Like,
Did you make it?
did I make it? Well, this is only kind of, this is only funny in the sense of what we're talking about.
Right.
But and I don't think it's like problematic to reveal this. But the will did say nobody under the age of 30 gets any money. And
Really?
So it didn't didn't matter, but
Savage grandpa.
I do respect my grandfather very
Savage
much.
grandpa. And with
And-
with the bombastic last minute move.
Yeah. And so I just think that the one, I kind of talked a big game about this, and so I don't know, some moment of grade school where I was like, when my granddad dies, he was a Delta pilot.
Yeah.
I was gonna get his pilot wings.
Okay.
like on my chest, and I kind of thought about that. Sorry, excuse me.
I know. We're actually got a couple comments about the chicken sounds.
The chicken sounds gotta be crazy, but you know what? There are people out there who fucking
actually
love
really
that
like
shit.
that. So
Just less talking,
yeah.
more chicken sounds.
Yeah.
But no, I like looked, at my body, and I was like, that's gonna look bad. First of all, and second of all, he would be really disappointed if I were still here if I did that. So, and and the other thing is just growing up in Atlanta with so many, especially like hanging out in East Atlanta all the time. So so many like super duper visible tattoos.
It's almost more rare when somebody doesn't have any. Man.
It's like not having tattoos is, in my mind,
is the new tattoo.
The new tattoo, and that's what I tell myself if I ever even get the inkling of a like desire.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
I don't have anything against them. I just don't want them personally.
Totally
in fact,
fair.
One last anecdote.
Yeah.
Before I go back to chicken sounds, my sister's birthday that I just mentioned. She had somebody there that she'd hired to like give people free tattoos.
Whoa.
Like
that's savage.
Not quite stick and poke, but like outline tattoos, quick tattoos. And my cousin Aslan, who just moved to Atlanta from Texas, really, really tried to convince us to get like my siblings and my brother was in town from New York, tried to convince us to all get a matching tattoo. And I just brought Webby in, and I was like, hey, Webby's my dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, Webby, can I do it?
Father.
He was like, nope.
No.
And I was like, see ya. Sorry, bud. Sorry, dude. Still my dad's son.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's like that, because that, no, yeah. Y'all aren't ready for that. The two Bens,
so weird.
Two of my friends are named Ben are in the chat right now, and both of them are correct. You don't want none of that, man. I don't think any of y'all are ready for the ink lifestyle. It comes with too much. It comes with too much.
Well, I have a obsessive personality too. It's like if I did start doing it, I would probably
just go bananas.
Yeah, I'm afraid I would. Anyway, that Nashville sauce was.
It's kind of
as the Australian boys that I went on tour with said, that shit's cooked, mate.
It's cooked?
Yeah, it's like
it's not good.
It's not good.
It's cooked. Okay, it's like
hot.
if somebody passes you the
so
whatever, and you're like,
oily.
hey man, is that good? No, it's cooked. Like it's not. Yeah, it was super oily.
Just
and
like
I did shake
tattoos.
it. Chat, I did shake it. Okay, moving on.
Chat said you didn't shake it. Dude, maybe you didn't. Yeah, for the chat though, I will say I don't think if.
I don't know why you keep moving that out of the way. Like it's gonna. We're not about to just go right back to more chicken.
I don't know.
We got 3 more. This one does look hot. This is gonna be Oh Brothers Organic Chipotle Pepper Sauce. My
Sounds good. Sounds flavorful. I don't think we're really gonna start getting hot until this.
I think those are gonna be hot. This one,
So
I'm not sure though. I think this one's gonna be really hot. Paisley Park. I really only have one question, and I've discussed Prince a couple times on this podcast. But I don't know
much more about Prince than I do.
Yeah, but there's a couple things. There's really one thing that I don't know.
Was his house sick as fuck?
I know it was sick as fuck. What I don't know is what it smelled like.
Ooh.
I really want to know what Prince's house smelled like. What did Prince's house smell like? I really need to know this.
So, at the time that I went to Paisley Park, I was on tour with Kate and her band, a phenomenal bunch. I was also playing bass, so I'm not talking about myself.
That's hot. Mm-hmm.
But Jacob Grissom and Chris Lewis, also Virginia musicians who are terrific drummer and guitarist, respectively. We were in Minneapolis, and this was what we didn't realize is this was going to be the last show of tour for us for a week. We ended up having to cancel a lot of days.
Oh, because of
because of laryngitis.
What?
Which Kate got laryngitis, and then we were opening for my sister, and so we went straight from there to Chicago, and then sat out the Chicago show. Annie opened, who was in phase of my sister's band at the time, and
Oh, she got a little.
yeah, she
Wow,
got
a little bump.
promotion. Let's go.
Bruh.
And then
Good for you, Annie.
that night, Faye realized she wasn't going to be able to sing for a week. But that aside,
Wow.
that just makes that trip to Paisley Park much more memorable because it was the last kind
You
of
still
like
haven't answered my question. Bud.
really fun thing we did on tour.
I know you're trying to get the relational memory back, but I feel like you're just getting farther away from the truth.
So it was cold as shit. It was February or March, and
God.
the Prince statue of the symbol representing an artist formerly known as Prince
Indeed.
was covered in ice up to like midway up the base. And so like
What?
just remembering
Oh, like it's outside? Okay.
no, I mean
Wait,
you park and you go inside, so like